This video is about some of my multi-dimensional extraterrestrial guides. It's my belief we all have them. Um, as I started to really develop my connection and my relationship with these beings, it changed me entirely. The first one is Satawak. Now he appears to be a Sasquatch. He is not. He's actually an Earth spirit, a guardian of the planet, and he is so ancient. The Sasquatch Bigfoot races, they're amazingly old, and he is far more ancient. And he would teach me things about the way the planet works and the way life happens and functions on the planet and associated realities with this planet. During one meditation, there's a lot of symbolism, and this picture was very caught my eye. Yeah, it's like he used to do this type of thing all the time in the beginning. And he brought me to an alternate reality, and there was this female Sasquatch in terrible emotional distress. And she was so in sorrow, and he asked if I would help her. And I went up to her, and I remember putting my hands on her head, and her head was huge. And only then did I realize how big she was. But what had happened is, in that other reality, she had a soul connection with a small little human girl, a little 5-year-old, and they were living way up in the woods. It looked just like this. They were a very poor family, and the little girl was actually taken by a serial killer and murdered. And I could feel the emotion. It was very, very traumatic. They showed me the man. They showed me he had a truck, and this is a picture of a truck that looks exactly like what they showed me. And what he had done is, I said, please don't show me, him murdering the child, which they did not, but they showed me where he was. And what had happened is, during that whole traumatic experience, the little girl, her soul became lost in the lower astral planes that were associated with that reality, and she couldn't get back to the female Sasquatch that she had this profound soul connection and purpose with. And so the next thing they showed me was the serial killer. I'd asked what happened to him, and they said, well, they showed me him walking back from burying the little girl, and it was dark out, and they basically herded him towards this area, and where his truck was parked, it was kind of like towards this cliff type thing of low but high enough. And he was so freaked out from them scaring him and everything, he ran off the cliff and basically ended up killing himself. And then they rolled the truck over on top of him. But when I saw the little girl, it was just like, it looked like woods like this, and it was a scared little girl who was crying in the woods. And as soon as I went up to her, I saw her and the female Sasquatch reunited, and I was brought back out of my trance. It was very emotional experience. The next one is a Lyran, and his name is Salahim. Now he looks similar to this. No, he doesn't have a Star Trek uniform. He does have a longer darkest jacket with 2 rows of like golden buttons and things like that. And he would teach me things that are pertinent to like the galaxy or space or things like that. And he looked a lot like a lioness, but he had more facial hair like the one on the right. And these pictures right here are from from YouTube. But it was really cool. Like some of the things he would show me, I asked how are planets created, and he says, well, of course there are infinite and ways of them being created, because there are infinite possibilities. But the first thing is the actual thought or intent of the planet needs to be created, and it's created in a plane of manifestation. And then what happens is the energy or the consciousness that is the planetary consciousness becomes self-aware, and it's formed in the higher dimensions. So it's not physical at this point yet. And I said, well, how does it create matter, the physical matter aspect of it? And he talked about the earth, and he talked about these devices, and showed me these 4 cube type devices. They were spinning similar to this. They didn't look like that. They were had sacred geometry and brilliant colors and all this fluctuation, but that actually created the frequencies of life. And then it basically showed me something that looked very similar to this, is the energy of life itself, and that those frequencies allowed the microbial life first to create the physicality. Then the microbial life came into effect, and that created the atmosphere, and that was pretty cool if you ask me. And if you look at these, these history and these carvings and paintings, the Lyrans, the feline beings have been around a long time. They're one of our root races. So I mean, they're a part of us all, and I just loved spending time with him. And then as I went on a little more, it was like graduating. I started the guides would come in these pairs, and this one is similar to an Arcturian hybrid by the name of Pake. He had a collar very similar to that. His eyes were more like this. He's probably, if he would go into physicality, he'd be about 3.5 feet tall. He looks more like this, a little bit bluer in the skin, but a softer, kinder look than this drawing. And he was accompanied by another crystalline being who doesn't have a physical body by the name of Viannea, and she was stunning, just beautiful. And she looked kind of like this because she's basically all energy, but she would change into something similar to this, and pretty amazing experiences with her as well. But one night I was living in Western Massachusetts, and I was in a meditation, and they came through very clearly and asked if I would go outside, and they wanted to show me something. And so I opened my eyes. It was exactly 11 at night, and I went outside and I sat down, and due west over my right shoulder was something, that a little ship that looked exactly like this. And I could feel, I still had the telepathic communication with them, and they were coming from east to west, due west over my right shoulder, and I was watching them, and I was all excited. And the ship came over and it left, and I was disappointed. And I think I even said it out loud. I go, well, I didn't feel anything. And as soon as I said that, the ship stopped dead right at the horizon, came back on the same exact trajectory, and it must have been like, all right, wise ass, that they cranked up the knob and hit the button. But they pulsed me with energy to where I was gasping for air. It hit my heart chakra so powerful, and I was running around the yard. I didn't know what to do with myself. The energy was so intense, and I was kind of just coming out of my skin. And I was running down into the front yard, and it's a rural neighborhood, and it's after 11 at night during the week or whatever. And one of my neighbor, who is an awakened person, I said, did you see the ship? Did you see the ship? And he's like, yes, I saw the ship. And then he's like trying to calm me down. He's like, John, and we talked about it later. It was really funny. He said he thought I was going to pass out, and I thought I was actually going to levitate. But what was really cool about that is after the energy started to settle down, I started to get this bliss hit, and I just started laughing hysterically. And it was just this massive dose of joy and happiness, and it was so fun. And I had to go inside because I knew that I was going to wake up the neighborhood with the energy and how loud I was being outside. And then they very, very slowly, they just went back to the east exactly the way they came. And actually after that, I saw that ship no less than 5 times, and always during meditations. And I'd be like meditating outside, and I'd feel their presence, and I'd open my eyes and look up, and they'd be just parked right there. And then close my eyes, look back, gone. Stuff like that. But contact, yeah, there's a lot of it going on. I'm not alone.